Welcome.
Wow. We're back. We're back again with episode. I don't even know what episode this is. Like 20 something, maybe. Maybe we're up in the 20s now. Well, Miss Johanna James, how have you been?
Not sleeping, but that's for sure. Little baby's nearly 3 months, and that's 3 months of absolutely no sleep. It's sleep deprivation so real. Like hallucinations are a thing.
Oh, really? Is it the first time you're experiencing them?
Yeah. Like literally see something that's not there. It's that level of like
the shadow people.
Shadow people. No, just like I swore the baby was on the sofa in the night, and then Cash walked into the room holding her, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It's insane. But apart from that, really good. Yeah, it's just been a wild ride. First time parenting to anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we think we won't be doing it again. We think this will be the one time on the ride.
Yeah, my parents, they wanted to have 5 kids, and then they had me, and they were like, okay, maybe just one more. We'll try for a girl. They got a girl, and they're like, all right, this is it.
Okay, we're done. We're tapping out. Yes. So yeah, apart from that's good, and I'm not too aware of what's going on in the world, so I'm kind of excited to get to chat to you, get to chat to Praveen, because I'm feeling itchy that I'm not catching up with what's going on in like the modern day and also the ancient world news, and yeah.
Well, who cares about modern news? It's all depressing anyways. Ancient world's more fun to hang out in.
I mean, yeah, that's true. And there's so much. I'm seeing so much stuff pop up, and it's really difficult to not want to just dive down the rabbit hole. I have to be like, no, I've got other things to do. Got to keep a little person alive. But yeah, super excited. So today, guys, we have a very, very fun guest on the show. Is a fellow Cosmic Summit talker, presenter. What are we?
Right. That's right. A fellow ancient history researcher. Everybody, please give a wonderful, warm Raiders welcome to our good friend Praveen Mohan. And then, oh wait, I didn't mean to play this music, but this actually is fitting, isn't it?
I was like, wow, literally said this. How great!
Wow, this is cinematic. I was trying to play the applause. Here, let's go.
Guys, thank you, guys. All right. Thank you very much.
I totally did not do that on purpose, but it actually worked. Cool. It actually worked perfectly.
It was great. I thought it was okay.
I may have to do that in the future. Get theme music for our guests when they
every guest.
That was great. How have you been, man? It's been a while since I've seen you. Maybe 4 or 5 months or so. And Johanna, have you and Praveen ever met in person?
Yeah, we met at Cosmic Summit, not the one, the previous year.
Oh, you know what? That's right. I forgot. Yeah, Praveen,
we were all there
the year before. Yeah, but I think I just briefly met you that first year, but we got to talk a lot more this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had some time out. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Obviously, in Raiders live pod, we do this live. So any technical hiccups, they're just going to be here. Oh, we've lost Praveen. He's back. He's back. Okay. Sorry, Praveen. We lost you for a moment, but there we go.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, I've met Johanna James in 2024 at the Cosmic Summit. And this time, I was wondering what happened to JJ, right? What happened to you? Why didn't you come to the Cosmic Summit? Now I know why.
Because I'm having a baby.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't know that, but yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. Congrats.
Yeah, like I was literally had her in August, so it was just way too close to try and fly. Otherwise, that could have been a very different kind of presentation.
Yeah. And then I met Luke Caverns. Actually, spoke a lot to Luke. We even planned on doing like a joint exploration, man. right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
But yeah, you were
definitely want to get
busy.
into India for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the most asked tour. People, I mean, I'm doing a tour in Thailand because most people, like, I know that you both want to like go to Thailand, but
Mm.
people, the Thailand is like known for what, debauchery. That's what you guys want to go there for, right? So you want to go there for for the clubs and street food and the beaches and all that stuff. But there is a hidden ancient world in
Mm.
Thailand that nobody seems to know about. Nobody knows about this, and it's a funny story um, because I've been to Thailand more than half a dozen times now. For the past 2 years, I've been researching on the temples of Thailand. And when we go through the immigration process, they are surprised. The immigration officers are surprised when I tell them we're going to explore the ancient temples of Thailand. And they're like, do we have ancient temples in Thailand? Because even the Thai people don't know that there are temples that are more than 1,000 years old with these insane details.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you you've lived in India your whole life, right? And so what was like your first what was the first onset that made you aware of this ancient Indian and Thai world?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of correction there. So I lived in India for a few, like 2 decades, and then I moved to the U.S. for about 15 years.
Okay.
I lived in the
Gotcha.
U.S. for 15 years, and then I decided to come back to India, which is where I am now, right? Because I mean, you know the story, right? So you can take the India out of a man, but you can, you can take the man out of India, but you
Yeah.
can't take India out of the guy, right? So it's just not going away.
Yeah.
Okay, so so I decided to come back. Of course, I grew up inside the temple premises, which gave me a great advantage. Looking at all the carvings and the statues and climbing the towers and so on.
Mm.
Because when you're a child, when you're like 8 years old playing hide and seek, you're climbing a tower and just waiting in a dark corner, hoping nobody's going to find you, right? You don't have anything else to do but look at all these gigantic carvings and this elaborate, the demons and the deities and the stories between them. So I had a great advantage of understanding the ancient epics of India and all the Vedas and the Purana and all the stories
Yeah.
as well. But when I came to India in 2015, that's 10 years ago, my initial focus was on India for the first 3 years. I was just focusing on Indian temples. But then I started to kind of expand it and look at other temples because India today is a much smaller country, okay? India is
Mhm.
actually one of the probably in the top 10 countries or something like that by land. And probably, you know this, right? This is number one in terms of population,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
We got 1 billion people. But today, India is actually smaller. It used to be maybe 3, 4 times larger
Yeah.
1,000 years ago.
That's
It
right.
basically had all these countries that we talk about today: Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia. All these countries were just part of India, and they were all embracing either Hinduism or Buddhism,
Mm.
and they both come from India. Okay, so I started to do my research, like big long term research, outside India, was in Cambodia.
Yep.
Nice.
And I started to I was doing deep research in Cambodia for some time, but and then it became very popular around the COVID time because I had just come back from Cambodia and I started to post all the videos on YouTube, and
Mm.
it was COVID time, so people couldn't go out, so they would kind of watch it like over and over. So it was really good. But then a lot of people knew about Cambodia because of the Angkor Wat. Okay,
Mm.
now, like, most people don't understand that, right? So what's the largest, not just a temple, what's the largest religious structure in the world? it's not a church or mosque. It's a Hindu
Angkor Wat.
temple.
Mhm.
And that's not even in India. That's in Cambodia. Okay. And it's bigger than the entire Vatican City. Right?
It is absolutely gigantic. You can't even comprehend how big it is when you're walking around it on foot. You've got to go see it and then look at a picture of it from the sky to actually get an understanding of just how massive that place is.
Yeah. So people knew about Angkor Wat, and they know, like, wow, this, Cambodia used to be like a Hindu country. It's full of these ancient Hindu Buddhist temples, right?
That's right.
But then nobody talks like that about Thailand.
No.
Right? Nobody talks about that like that.
Yeah.
Luke or Johanna is gonna go to Cambodia to look at temples, but you probably wouldn't go to Thailand to look at temples, right? Not yet, right? And that's what I'm starting to do. Is I'm gonna start posting temple after temple, okay, in Thailand, ancient temple after temple. In 2 years, it's going to be normalized that yes, Thailand is full of ancient temples, and that's what we're trying to do. Because
cool.
I mean, yeah, we really need to tell people that yes, there are, like, see, today we're talking like, oh, Cambodia is a different country, Thailand is a different country, and there sometimes they even fight between each other. I'm sure you've heard of this in the news. But back then it all used to be just one country. Okay, it used to be.
Just a question: the ancient temples in Thailand, are they from the same builders, the same artists as the ancient Cambodia and ancient India?
Some of them are. Some of them are. There are a variety of. Well, I mean, we're going back to mainstream history and archaeology, but if I want to give you a concise answer, some of the builders are, for example, Khmer. Okay,
That's
so
right.
the Khmer Empire emperors and the builders were in Cambodia as well as Thailand, because these borders were drawn maybe in the last few decades, right? Around 1940, 1950, 1960. Before that, they all used to be the same kind of, place, right?
Yeah.
And there are distinct cultures there as well that are kind of exclusive to Thailand that don't overlap with Cambodia. For example, we have the Dwaravati culture, right? That is completely different. Those are the guys who built these pyramids in Thailand. Yes.
So the pyramids, when you say pyramid, are we talking more Egyptian pyramid or Mesoamerican pyramid with the steps?
It is going to look very similar to the stepped pyramids of Mesoamerica. It's going to look very similar. Of course, a lot of it is destroyed. Okay, a lot, like there is a pyramid called Tep pyramid in Thailand. It was, nobody knew that this pyramid existed even before 100 years ago. I think it was only revealed.
Really?
Yes, in 1938, I think.
No
it was
way.
it was just in the last 100 years, because it's in the jungle, like nobody knew about this. And finally, there's some explorer or archaeologist who comes and clears all the trees and finds out what it is, right? So there's this pyramid there. It's large. It's pretty large. It's more than 200 feet each side, and of course, it's not comparable to, for example, like the pyramid of Giza or something like that. But you can see that it's clearly built as a step pyramid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Is this the one I'm trying to? The images that you gave me pre-show, is this the correct pyramid that you're talking about? Amazing. Yes. Okay, that's really cool.
So yeah, some of them are going to be videos. I don't know if you can play them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the Tep pyramid, and you can see the top part, right? People have completely kind of destroyed that. That's not how it used to look. It used to be much taller.
Yeah.
It used to be much taller. And then there are some very interesting stories about the Tep pyramid. Okay. So here she's playing a video where she shows that we are able to take you on top of the pyramid. Okay, this is on
Oh
top of the
yeah.
yeah.
That looks like the mud brick pyramids from some of the later dynasties, in Egypt where they've all fallen down just like this. Do you know if it's their mud brick or what kind of brick they are?
It is. Yes, it is.
Mud brick. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Praveen,
Yeah,
that I'm sorry, that central area up there on the top, Jahan, if you'd show the other aerial photo, I think it was right before this one. That
This one?
central kind of temple or structure there on the top, is that a doorway I see? Would you have been able to walk in there once upon a time?
Oh, in the middle?
Well, probably. We don't know. There are many stories about this. That definitely looks like a doorway. People even say that's kind of a symbolic door, right?
Yes, in Cambodia there are sites like that where it's a doorway, but you can't actually go in. It's a doorway to nowhere. Yeah,
yes.
Very, very interesting. Because I was curious if it was one of those. That's actually probably what it is. You're right. But in Thailand, are there the same? Yeah, that pyramid is amazing. Was it Pyramid of Kokera, I think.
Yes.
But in Thailand, are there temples where you walk into that chamber and it's got that like zenith sun tube up in the top where on the day of zenith passage the sun will shoot a light beam straight down into the temple? Do you ever see that in Thailand?
No.
I've
not seen one. I've not seen one where there's. I know this is in Cambodia, right?
Yeah.
This is in Angkor Wat. This is in Bayon Temple, correct?
Yep.
And Top
right. Yeah, it's really amazing to see it in person. It's like totally Tomb Raider, Indiana Jones stuff. It's pretty cool. So, anyways, I don't mean to interrupt you. Keep going.
Oh, that's okay. So yeah, so so the temples of Thailand have this kind of like insane pyramidal structures, right? So and the date of this pyramid is about 1,300 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So and we're talking about like mainstream history and archaeology dates, right? This is the explanation given. It's at least 1,300 years old. But people don't know that, these kind of pyramids exist in Thailand. Okay. And the funny part is they don't even know the actual name of the pyramid.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, like the original name's gone
Yes.
in history? Okay.
So they only call it like Khao Klang Nak, which means the pyramid on the outside in Thai. They just the mountain on the outside or something like that, because they don't know who built it, like what is the reason behind it. There are conflicting information about the stuff. People say it used to be a Buddhist stupa. Some people say it used to be a Hindu temple on top of this, and some people claim there used to be a giant crystal cylinder on top of this. And this is a theory that comes up again and again. This is again the same story in Kokar. This is again the same story in Bakse Chamkrang, which is another pyramid in Cambodia. This is also the story in India, in a city called Bareilly. We have a pyramid that is attributed to the timeline of Lord Krishna, which is about 5,000 years ago, right? So yeah, if you look at mainstream history, right? So we say the oldest pyramid is what the Djoser or the Saqqara pyramid in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's about 4,500 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But
so they're older than the Egyptian pyramids or the pyramids.
Yeah,
in
India, yes, in India we have a pyramid which looks very much like the pyramid in Thailand. It's maybe a little bit bigger than that, and this is said to be built at the time of Lord Krishna, which is more than 5,000 years ago. Okay, so but of course the mainstream dates differ, right?
Yeah.
So the mainstream dates differ a lot, but a lot of times we don't generally think, when I say pyramids, not just to researchers like Luke or Johanna, even like the tourists or a casual visitor, they're all thinking of either Egyptian pyramids, or they're thinking of, pyramids in Mexico or Central America, right? Because that's what we normally think. Sometimes I even do that. Yeah. But there are a lot of Hindu and Buddhist pyramids in India and Southeast Asia, especially in Thailand and Cambodia. In Cambodia, I've researched 2 pyramids. One is this Kokor pyramid, the one that you just saw with the lingam coming out. Yeah. The second one is Baksay Chamkrang. I don't know if Luke went to that one. It's just behind the Angkor Wat. Have you been there?
I probably went to this temple. Yeah, I've been to Cambodia. I may have been, but I'd have to see a photo to know for sure.
Okay. It was a blur of heat and temples.
It was very hot. I mean, I'm from Texas. Texas has nothing on Cambodia. Cambodia it's like being in an oven. Plus,
it's like wet.
We were there in the hottest day of the year. We were there for Zenith Passage, so it is the hottest day of the year in Cambodia. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say that if you've been to this pyramid, Luke, you would definitely remember it, because it looks exactly like the Tikal pyramid in Guatemala.
Interesting. So it's not the pyramid of Kokor.
Oh, we've got a little pause in the show.
Somebody type in the chat. What was the name of the pyramid that he said?
Baksay Chamkrang, Baksei, Baksay, Baksei space Chamkrang, Cham.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Let me throw it in I'll throw it into the chat here. Everybody. Okay, here we go. This guy here.
There we go. Yes, I did see this. We just weren't allowed to go on it. It was it was roped off. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It very much looks like a Maya pyramid.
Yeah.
Yes. Because if you pull up the Tikal pyramid in Guatemala, that's the exact same thing. Right?
Yeah, look up Tikal pyramid Guatemala. Yeah, you'll see.
Oh my God, yeah, it's identical.
Yeah. So you see that, and
I think it's the same designer, obviously.
Yeah. So if you go to this pyramid, you get floored, because you start thinking, what, how? Because I've researched. I haven't been to Tikal, but I've been to Chichen Itza, and I'm gone to the Mayapan ruins and all those places a long time ago, right? So I've researched the Mayan pyramids, so I understand that how they look. So when I went to this pyramid, I was surprised that, my God, it's almost the same blueprint. And in 2018 and 19, we were allowed to climb the pyramid. It's pretty hard to. It's very steep, by the way. And actually climbing up is easier. When you climb down, it's really difficult, because you feel like you're gonna fall down. But yeah, so we got a lot of pyramids in India, and I've already posted the pyramids in Cambodia a long time ago, like a few years ago. But nobody knew about this pyramid in Thailand, right? And I've already been researching the ancient temples of Thailand for 2 years. I've been there many times now, right? So in a few years, I probably might even start speaking Thai, right? So so going back and forth. But what we are finding is something insane. We are starting to find that this country is full of ancient temples. It is
question, Praveen. Are these ancient temples? Is there any evidence that they are on anything older? Or is there any
like built over an older site?
Like are they or the bedrock features? Sorry, my camera for some reason is going in and out today. Yeah, that was a question I saw a bit back earlier in the comments. Are they built on anything older or into the bedrock at any point?
We haven't found any such evidences. We haven't been looking at the temples in this angle. Okay, so
Okay.
if some researchers come and they start looking at it in this angle, then you might
Maybe.
find more information, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the pyramid of Giza, I'm not the middle pyramid, second pyramid. The bottom of it is there's like one whole half of it that's just it's not built pyramid. It's bedrock, and then they just sort of built the pyramid into it. And I'm now I'm looking at ancient sites, going, what was there? Was there any part of this site that looks like it could have been here before? And yeah.
Well, we haven't been looking at it from this angle, but yes, I'm sure. What we're basically doing is that what I'm doing is trying to put, do these tours as a stepping stone to kind of like tell people about the temples of Thailand. In a few years, in 2-3 years, a lot of people, including Luke, Johanna, Hugh Newman, and Billy Carson, and all these people are going to start. I hope they do more tours in Thailand. Like I'm sure you guys have planned some tours about Cambodia or India because you already know about the temples, right?
Sure.
But these tours and my videos are just stepping stones to kind of just tell people like you about the temples, because these temples need recognition. They're just like the underdogs now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put a link because you have a website for your tours. So I'm going to put a link in the description box at the end of the live. So anyone who wants to literally go on tour with you, can.
Yeah. But yeah, we in our last tour, we did have a few researchers, but they were more interested in the ancient technology and how the rocks were assembled and all that stuff. And they've done some astonishing engineering work in these temples. There's one temple called the Phnom Rang Temple that we are going. And this temple has underground structures, a lot like kind of a concealed pipe system, okay, which is like an underwater filtering system, right?
I've got the images here. So is it this temple?
The Phnom Rang Temple. Yeah, this is the one. So yeah, this is the Phnom Rang Temple.
Wow.
You can see how big it is, right? It's on a mountaintop. It's on a top of an extinct volcano, right?
Yeah.
So you can see how big this temple is, right? It takes like it's an insane temple. But if you go into the main chamber, it's really fantastic. So you can see the lingam there. This is a new one. Right, the original was made of a completely different material, but right next to it you can see underground structures. Okay, so you can see so you can see underground, like smaller underground chambers. They're not real. They're no big than maybe 2 feet or 2.5 feet wide. Okay, so but this is just one of them. But if you play the video, you will see that it keeps. I hope so. I hope. No, I'm just shining light into it, right? But if you go to the next video, it shows. I'm sorry, guys. I don't have that video. So you have a series of them. All right. So you have a series of these, like kind of, and this is a twin lingam that I just recently posted about. This is kind of a larger. If you go to there's like a twin lingam, right?
Yep. Oh, we're just waiting for the to catch
okay.
up. Was it this one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So this is kind of a twin lingam. Okay, so it has like 2 holes, but if you put your hand inside, it's completely hollow.
Okay.
It's scooped out everything.
Yeah. Right? Oh wow. Yeah, like. Inside a whole chunk of rock, they've managed to make like a passageway.
Correct. So they kind of scooped out everything, and they've done this. And this is just one example, because I'm sure both of you know about the lingams. The lingams is basically a cylinder on top of a base, right? That's how a normal lingam looks. But in this temple, we have multiple lingams on the base, which is very, very unique. And they've tried to do, it's almost when you're walking in, and this is a large, very large temple. If you're a serious researcher, you can be there for many days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's that large. So you can see that the ancient builders were kind of experimenting with these lingams. They were creating all sorts of different lingams, and they were also doing like underground, like water filtration system. There's a lot of like underground chambers there. Okay.
So just that last one that we saw, the image of it looks like very similar layout to what they think Ganang Padang is. And when you said that it was on an ancient volcano, as well as, because that one is also on an ancient volcano, and they were with inside chambers, because you can use the natural formation of the volcano cavity and turn it into an ancient chamber. I was like, the stages, the mountain it's on, the volcano is on, I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because that looks like a kind of later surviving version or replica version of something that they had over there.
Yes, because today the way we are thinking about these temples, right? Today, the way we are thinking about the temples is like, oh, Gunung Padang is in Indonesia. It used to be like an ancient Hindu temple on top of a volcano, that type of stuff. And we're comparing this with Phnom Rang temple, again on top of a volcanic mountain in Thailand. But there is also another one, Priya Vihar in Cambodia, which looks very, very similar to this. Again, on a hilltop, maybe a volcano, and then it looks exactly the same. Okay. But these borders, right? Today we are thinking of like, okay, so that is in this country, this is in this country, this is in a third country. But it all used to be the same.
Yeah.
It all used to be the same, place long time ago. You understand?
That's when we were talking about, Johanna asked the question of if any of these sites are built on older temples, or older sites that may be older than, let's call it, around 1000 AD or so. One of the things that takes me to is, it really would have been interesting. Alexander the Great vastly underestimated how big India was, and how many warriors they had, and all the millions of people that lived there. And when he tried to invade India, he got stopped pretty much immediately. What I think a lot of people don't realize is, and at least let's call it Westerners, people watching the show, when we think of India today, we mostly think of Buddhism, but at that time they were all Hindu, and that the Buddhism had not arisen yet. And so in the same way that Christianity kind of washed over the European world, and like the Celtic, Gaul, Germanic cultures, they kind of fall back to the wayside, Buddhism did that to the Hindu world as well. And so it kind of washed the Hindu world away. And so you don't really know exactly the extent of, when I was in Cambodia, we learned about how Hindu temples would be razed to the ground and then would be turned into a Buddhist temple instead. And so you have this 6,000 to 8,000 year at least long history of the Hindu world that we have a very imprecise understanding of. And so it would have been really cool to see if somebody, if we had historical accounts of people going through the Indian world in 300 BC during the time of Alexander, but a lot of that just doesn't exist anymore. And a lot of it's been covered up and destroyed. And so, I definitely think that there is, just on the outside looking in, I definitely think that there's a high probability of even more ancient cultures in the Indian world that spans all these modern countries, of things that were destroyed, hidden, buried, not yet found, still sitting underground, still sitting in the jungle. There's so much out there.
I'm just going to jump in. There's a question for you, Praveen, saying, what is your favorite temple? Because you've seen a lot of them. Do you have a favorite or a top 3?
It keeps changing a lot. Luke Skydropper. What's your favorite temple, Praveen? Yes, Luke. So, it keeps changing a lot. My first favorite temple is the Kailasa Temple at Ellora Caves. It's carved out of one solid piece of rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just completely changed a hill into a temple.
Ellora, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an amazing place.
Yeah.
Imagine the pressure of not getting like one bit wrong. If you're the dude that messes up that, like everyone's done it perfectly for 2 miles.
Yeah.
Like...
and Praveen, the pillars, like the columns that are there, they're not actually touching the ground, right? They're like hovering above the ground. Is that right?
Not that one.
Okay.
That's a different temple in Lepakshi. Yeah.
Okay. Because but it's the same like civilization.
Same civilization.
Yeah. So the only reason that they would be doing that is just to show off
it's
how
a flex.
good.
It's a flex. It's like, look at don't even need to touch the floor.
Yeah, maybe.
Actually, that reminds me of a really just a quick story. You know, after the fire of London, there was obviously a massive rebuild, and there was a young architect who wanted to put pillars in this church. And he was like, they were like, you need to have minimum 12 pillars to support the structure of the church. And he was like, no, I've looked at it and I think I can do it with 6. And they were like, you're young and you're stupid and minimum's 12. And they were like, we will not give you the money to build the structure of the cathedral or the church unless you do 12 pillars. And so he was like, fine. Anyway, so cut to 400 years later or 600 years later, and some people are cleaning up in the rafters of the church, and they notice that 6 of the 12 pillars that are in the church are like 2 inches off the ceiling. There's no point for them, but he just did it to like bow to the older architects. But I was like, I think that's so cool that like the payoff didn't come for 400 years, but just to be like, so, maybe they were doing that in that site. The foreman of the architect of the project was like, no, we have to have all these temple things. He's like, we'll put them there, but they won't touch the floor.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, well, we can see a lot of this. A lot of times we do not understand why they created certain thwe and of course, today that it's probably. Because I mean, we are always going to judge things by what we see today, right? So we just try to think of the ancient builders very similar to us, right? Hopefully they had the same mentality like us. So when we see moving parts in Indian temples or Hindu temples, we tend to think, why are they making these moving parts, right? You will see, and you can easily dismiss them as, it's just a flex. By the way, right? It's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible. For example, you'll see the chains like hanging from the temple ceilings. Okay, they're all made of granite. Imagine making chains out of solid granite, right?
Yeah, that's tough.
You see them, yeah, and of course, there's definitely beauty involved. There's there's art. There's no doubt about that. But you also want to, like, sometimes you wonder why. And it gets even better, just like what Jahana is saying. Sometimes the most important carvings and the most interesting carvings are found in the deepest, darkest corners of the temples.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay? Yeah, so you'll have a statue that's been lying in a deep, dark corner, right? That's standing. It's like made of dark, shiny, dark stone that nobody's gonna see, and it's been standing in a corner where there's no light for like the last 1,000 years, right? And you go and you shine your flashlight, and you realize there's like a 1 millimeter hole inside its ears, and you can put a stick through this one, and it comes out, right? And they're not doing it. Yeah, so but they like, you want to flex, Jahana, you're gonna flex now, right? When people are watching you, you're not gonna go to like a deep dark corner and then start flexing, right? So you find these like strange things in Hindu and Buddhist temples. You're finding things that the builders did something, but they didn't show off. For example, nobody knows who built these temples. There's no written inscription that says, I am the engineer who built the Kailasa temple. I am the engineer who built the Phnom Rang temple in Thailand and on a mountaintop, right? So if it was done today, right, you can see this with people. They're just writing their names all over the walls of like a small, little structure they build, and they tell the world that they're the ones doing it, right? But the ancient builders were very, like, they didn't want to tell anybody. They didn't want to,
so it's kind of humble. They were humble flexing.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, and the same thing with the texts as well. Okay, so the ancient texts, a lot of these ancient texts written in Sanskrit, you don't know who wrote them. They don't say this, I'm the author at all. They just start, right? So you have all these, and this is what becomes very, very interesting to us, because the more I search and research and explore these temples and ancient texts, the more I realize that they're completely different beings. They're not relatable to us. They didn't have emotions like that. They were completely different, right? They did not care about things like us.
Different priorities. Like, we're very much we need to get the credit. Everyone has to have, like, you get the praise and the credit and the name.
They are shockingly similar people to the Maya of Mexico. My professor, Dr. Barnhart, he spent so much time studying the connections between the Indian world and ancient Mexico. They exist on the same equatorial line. They existed at the same time. And they studied the same stars in the night sky and acknowledged the same celestial movements and astronomical events, all exactly the same time. And he calls them twin civilizations because they build so many of the same looking structures. It goes even just beyond the pyramids that look similar. And they also, during certain periods in the Maya world, do not take credit or put their own names on their temples. So they create all these temples for the gods in a very humble, pious way and take no credit. And these people just disappear into time, and you never actually know the identity of who they are. And the more I hear about the Indian world, the more I'm like, man, that's so similar to Mexico.
Yes, we do have some people researching this. The word Maya itself is a Sanskrit word which simply means an illusion or magic. And then we have a god called Mayasura. Okay. He's a master architect. He's known to build all the great structures and all that stuff. And if you look at the, I'm sure you know this, the Mayan civilization begins with a strange god coming via the sea.
Yep, okay? That's true.
So yeah, and we can see all the same thing, different gods coming up and the gods fighting each other. It's always fun to go to the Mayan museums because you can see how fierce these gods are, punishing, the people who did wrong and all that stuff. It's very, very similar to this. And it would be interesting if we look at the linguistics, right? So it would be very interesting if somebody looks into the linguistics of the Mayan language, right? And see how similar it is. And we find this, and of course, we can see a lot of similarities between the Mayan and Indian culture, right? But we can also see similarities like of beings, for example, the Naga, right?
Yeah.
So the Naga, the snake-like reptile thing, it appears again and again. It appears as Nakash in Israel. It appears as Nabkal in Egypt. It's the same thing, okay? And the same thing, we call it Sarpa. We call the snakes as Sarpa. It's just the same thing as the serpent or the seraph. We just even have the same linguistic match. It's not a coincidence that around the world, in Egypt, in Middle East, in Israel, in India, in Thailand, in Mayan culture, we're going to have the same gods and the same type of beings portrayed again and again. Right? And this is why we see the similarity in the structures as well. This is why we see the pyramids, which are in Egypt, in Mayan civilization, in Central America, in India, in Thailand, everywhere. So, yeah, and then you can see the Nagas are portrayed very, very in an interesting way in Cambodia. I don't know if Luke knows this, but if you go and buy a history book of Cambodia, the history book of Cambodia actually starts with the coming of Naga. And I'm not talking about mythology. I'm talking about what's taught in the history books. Yeah, I'm talking about what's taught in the history book in high schools and the college textbooks of Cambodia. They literally say that a Naga queen came from another world, and that's how the civilization of Cambodia starts. Okay. And it's very interesting because we can see all these things attributed again and again. In India, people still worship the Nagas as the real gods who still live underworld. So we have a very and I'm sure you guys know this, because if you go to Egypt, people are no longer worshiping Ra or Thoth, right? If you go to Greece, people are no longer worshiping Hercules and Thor, right? They've all become superheroes in Marvel movies, right? But if you come to India, we still have 1 billion people worshiping the Hindu gods. We are still reciting all the texts from ancient texts. It's part of our ritual. So India is the last bastion of the ancient religions. There's no other country that actually does it, right? And Luke pointed out something very interesting, because Buddhism is a very powerful religion, right? Pioneered by Lord Buddha. Right? He's a very, very strong person who was able to propagate that across Southeast Asia and China and Japan, right? Because in China and Japan and in Thailand, like today, we're going to the Hindu Buddhist temple, but Thailand is more than 90% Buddhist. Okay, because Buddhism is able to wash away like the stronghold of Hinduism in all these countries. But in India, it's less than 1%.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a fortified Hindu religion there.
So, which is surprising, which is very surprising, right? Because I always say this, and sometimes I go to the Buddhist conventions and they bring me because I'm everywhere, right? So I love Buddhism, I love Hinduism. So they take me, especially in places like Thailand, people from Taiwan and China. They always come, the Buddhist monks come, and they take me to Buddhist conventions. And I tell them, I don't know if you know this, Buddha was born in Nepal.
Yep. Right.
Yeah. It used to be India, by the way. So we always say Buddha is born in India. But he got enlightened in India. Okay? He got enlightened in India. But India has less than 1% Buddhism, right? But the other countries, they're like majority Buddhist, which is if you think about it, right? If Luke is famous in India, but he's not famous in the US, then something's off, right? So it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So it's like Jesus, right? So Jesus is he should be the primary kind of God in Israel, but he's not.
No, he's not. No, Europe adopted Jesus, actually.
Yeah.
People talk about that.
But outside the Middle East, adopted Jesus, and within the Middle East, he's like nodded to, but he's not the centralized
Yeah, people don't realize that. Jesus really grew, not to get off on the whole thing, but he really grew in Greece and then spread across Europe and then came to America. Very, very, he's not as big of a figure out in his own stomping ground.
Part of the world, where he came from. That's interesting.
So, all right, Praveen, we have
with Buddha. Same thing with Buddha. He has very less followers in India and Nepal, where he's originally from. So,
like Jesus.
Yes.
All right, so we have quite a handful of
okay, let's do some questions. We'll fire questions
here for you. So here, let's start with the first one. Oh, look at that. It's from me.
Oh, it's from
you got to tell me what do you think of the lotus flower? I know it's all over the Indian world. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just curious on your thoughts on it.
Well, you were asking me a deep question there, right? So, do you have lotus flowers in the US and in the UK? Do you have lotus flowers?
I might have a lotus flower that I have brought home with me.
That he has.
But no, there is only, I think there's only like one institution here in the US that has like a species of lotus flower, but no, they don't grow naturally here.
Okay. Yes. What about you, Johanna? No, none?
I don't think there's an English lotus. We don't have a lot of water plants.
Okay. Well, Lucas asked me a different question because I focus on the temples and the architecture and stuff like that. But Lucas asked me a question in botany, right? So he's asking me about plants. But I'm going to see how much I know about the lotus
flowers. But they do appear on the temples, though.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Absolutely. But how tall is the stem of the lotus flower? All right. This is a question for you guys, right? You see the lotus flower on top of the lake, right? You see the beautiful lotus flowers always on the top of the lake, but underneath it, there's a stem going, right? How tall is it?
9 feet.
What about you, Luke?
About 6 feet sometimes. Well, okay. Maybe they go further into the ground, but they can stand 6 feet out of the water.
6 to 9 feet. 69 feet. No.
Oh my.
Okay. So this is mentioned in the ancient Tamil text of Tirukkural. There's a text in Tamil language which is considered very, very ancient. The length of the stem depends on the depth of the lake.
So no matter what.
So no matter what. So the stem goes all the way to the soil under the lake. Okay. So if the lake is only like 3 feet deep, the stem is only 3 feet tall.
So we were both right, depending on the lake.
It's like somebody asking you how many people in the cemetery are dead. It's like all of them.
They're all dead. We hope.
Yeah. So this is mentioned in the ancient text where it says the length of the stem is based on the depth of the lake, and similarly, right? The things you will achieve in your life depends on how big you can think.
It's quite deep.
Yeah, this is more than 2,000 years old, and this is mentioned there. And I don't know if you've read this book, it's called The Magic of Thinking Big. I think there's a famous author, David Schwartz, wrote this book. Says Magic of Thinking Big. Always think big, don't think small, right?
Yeah.
And this is he wrote an entire book about this, saying that you have to think big, don't be negative, always think positive, think big, don't do anything small. But this is mentioned in an ancient Indian text more than 2,000 years ago, which draws the parallel between the lotus and how you're supposed to think. You're not supposed to think small. Now,
I really like that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna use that. I'll be like, I'm the lotus flower. I need myself a bigger lake.
Yes.
I like it.
And you can grow into your potential.
Yeah. And then it's mentioned again in another ancient text where the lotus leaves, I don't know if you know about the lotus leaves. the lotus leaf, the water's always on top of the lotus leaf, right? But it's waxy. The lotus leaf is waxy.
Naturally
So
waterproof.
it never like it is in the water, but it's never like it never lets the water go into the leaf and the flower. Okay. And this is also mentioned in ancient Indian texts, saying that that's how you're supposed to live life. You're going to have all these aggravations and all these problems and even pleasures around you. They're always going to be around you, and that's what you will be. And this again ties into stoicism and how you're supposed to be a stoic person, not to allow anybody to get into your skin.
Yeah, you don't absorb it.
Yes, you don't absorb it. You're in the middle of the misery, right? But you're going to act like the leaf of a lotus flower, right? Not allow anything. And even worse, right? And even Buddha mentions this. You can even allow misery to get into your skin. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But don't let all your achievements, right?
Oh yeah.
get into your head.
Yeah.
Right? So this is all mentioned in the ancient texts. And because the lotus flowers are so common in India, and these are beautiful flowers, people sell them in Thailand and Cambodia too. They're always selling. Yeah. So they're always selling them. And the lotus flower, if you look at it, the lotus flower always starts to bloom when the sun comes out. And it goes back when the sun goes back. Okay? And because of its connection to the sun god Surya is the sun god of India, right? He's the personification of the sun. And he's always holding lotus flowers.
Right.
Okay?
Because the lotus, him.
Correct. And this is something I discovered maybe like 5-10 years ago. The lotus, the sun gods are carved in Hindu temples. If they're shown with like lotus flowers wide open like that, that means it's a noon sun. So if they're closed and they're starting to come out, it's like the morning sun. And you can literally see this. And again, if the lotus is kind of dried up, right? It looks like this, but it's also closing, but it's dried up. That's the evening sun. And you can see
it's this like a clock, like a time. You can see the timestamp.
Exactly. So you can see this in.
Imagine if you just wore a lotus flower. Like, what time is it? I don't know. It's kind of like dried up a clock.
Or like you're making some very interesting points, right? Jahana is making a very interesting point about that, right? Because it shows that she's like subconsciously saying, right, that lotus flowers can be used as time machines, right? They're symbols of time. That's what she's trying to say.
Wow, I never thought about this.
Yeah, if you go to the Konark Sun Temple, there's a temple in a place called Konark. And who's the main deity is not Shiva or Vishnu or the main gods. It's dedicated to the sun. It's dedicated to the sun god Surya, right? And you can see the morning sun with the closed lotus flowers ready to come out. The noon sun who has the lotus wide open and is going fierce. He looks hot, right? And the evening sun who's kind of tired and he's riding the chariots, and the chariot chauffeur is kind of tired and all that stuff. But underneath these gods, okay, underneath these carvings, you can see these giant wheels, okay, because the sun god is driving the chariot, right? So the temple has all these wheels on the chariot, okay. But just until a few decades ago, nobody knew that these were sundials. These are time machines, okay?
Yeah, amazing.
This is a sundial.
I've seen your videos on these before.
Yeah. So if you go and if you put your finger in the center and you just allow the sun, and by seeing where the shadow is cast, you can tell the time accurately, right? So, and it's not even like how Jahana is saying, it's not even like it's 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock. You can say be like it's 9:07 p.m. You can be that accurate. It's like Amazing. It's accurate down to a minute or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's the combination, right? Where we're just moving from the lotus, because the lotus is a symbol of the sun, right? So it's not just that a flower or the god is just about worship. We're also talking about the deep philosophies, how you're supposed to live your life, how your mind, how you manifest only like as big as you want to manifest, right?
Yeah.
And we're also talking about how we're supposed to live our life, not to allow all these things to get into our skin. But we've just moved to science. We've just moved to science saying that we can tell time accurately down to like 2 minutes. And this was built more than 800 years ago in India.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Apart from, I just realized that the lotus flower watch wouldn't be very good at night. So I'd be like, have you got the time? Be like, no, it doesn't work at night. Sorry.
Yes.
It's closed. It's still night.
Yeah, no, sorry. I have no idea.
Yes. And this sun temple, very good point there. So in the sun temple of Konark, we have 24 wheels, okay? But we cannot use all of them, right? Because after dark, how do you use a sundial, right? It makes no sense. But do you know there's such a thing called moon dial?
No.
Where moon? Genius.
Okay. So people aren't looking at the structures in this angle. People aren't looking. And this is what we always say. The temples are not only for historians and archaeologists and anthropologists.
Yeah, anyone with an eye.
Yes. Yes. So if you're a doctor, come to the Hindu temples. We are seeing carvings of childbirth. We are seeing carvings of surgery. I think in the Cosmic Summit in 2024, we're showing carvings of people pulling out the tooth, people doing surgery, people doing all sorts of things. Okay?
Crazy.
Yeah. So we got like medical information, medical technology, architecture, engineering, science, art, all sorts of dance, various types of musical instruments. We got things like people putting like 1 millimeter hole into like rocks, granite rocks,
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
When you brought up the sun god, it reminded me of a photo that I took while I was in Cambodia. Before I show it, I'm gonna show Johanna something. Johanna, what civilization? I don't know. It's probably not gonna work very well.
It's a bit blurry.
What civilization do you think that statue is? Oh gosh.
Oh, is it focus? Bear with me. Looks like. I don't know.
The reason I ask is, doesn't that look like Amarna, Akhenaten, Egypt?
I hate that I didn't say that. My gut was like, well, the belt and the style is very Akhenaten-y, but it doesn't look. The rest of it doesn't look Egyptian. So okay.
Yeah. Well, so it's Khmer, but ancient, broader India.
Looks like Akhenaten.
So the sun god in Cambodia had the sun disk, and there were other depictions. You know the sun god Ra. How Ra is always depicted with the sun disk behind his head, but the sun god, the Indian sun god or the Hindu sun god, also has that sun disk depicted next to him, and that along with the similarities that I see between ancient Indian civilization and Mexico, all these things make me think that while these civilizations, maybe they didn't know who each other were. Like maybe ancient Indians weren't aware of ancient Mexicans. And it feels unlikely that they were. but they were all tapped into the same thing. They were all connected to the same things. And there was something, a common denominator influencing all of these people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a book, I'm blanking on the name, but I read it once, and it was all about creativity and the theory that creativity, it comes from source, and it's like consciousness, or like a one consciousness. And so when you have an idea for to make something, write something, build something, that you're basically just like an open vessel. And you know, when you just like get hit by an idea and you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
that's not come from you. It's just that you've received it. And if you don't write that book that you have the idea of, then the idea will then go to someone else. And that's why there's like a phenomenon of different people writing the exact same book or the exact same script, or they've built the same image or painted the same picture, because there's like the creativity comes to you rather than it comes from the outside. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And that would make a lot of sense why maybe people didn't have to physically travel. Although I did think ancient people physically traveled way more than we think. I think they were boating around and climbing.
No doubt about that.
But it makes sense, like you said, about the source, so that everybody was getting the idea of the same shaped temple and the same shaped stuff, because they were all tapping into the same creative source bucket. And that it made sense. And that's why that explains the phenomenon of why two people can have the exact same idea and they've never met, and they're in opposite countries.
Yeah.
All right. So okay.
Tammy was saying, Tammy commented that my lecture at Cosmic Summit was awesome. Thank you very much, Tammy. I appreciate it.
All right. So lightning round with these quick
lightning round. We're going to come into land for the show.
All right. So maybe at some point in this conversation, you could have with Praveen, comment about the fanged deity and parallels to it in religions around the world. Okay. Praveen, are you familiar with what the fanged deity is in South America? Have you ever heard of this before?
Yes, in Colombia.
It's the feline jaguar kind of human-ish god that essentially, it appears as though it is the high god in South America. Some people think it's like monotheism, but it's essentially a human that could turn into a jaguar. And we see it pretty much all throughout South America. And in some places, I have seen other similar things in other parts of the world where somebody, like in Africa, you can see religions where people believe that like there's like a man leopard or a man lion. Do you see anything like that in the Indian world?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, we do see that. So we multiple fanged deities in India. One that's very similar to what you're saying. The fanged jaguar, lion, tiger kind of figure is called Yali.
Oh, we got to look this up. Pull it up.
It's called Yali. It's very popular in Indian temples. There's probably not one Indian temple which doesn't have this carving. You're going to think of it as a lion, right? But it's not really a lion. So if you start to look at the Yali carvings, you will see a lot, and they have these. That's the most dominant feature. They have these fangs coming out. Okay.
Quickly googling the Yali.
Yeah, YALI.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a variety of these Yalis mentioned. So the Yalis, or for example, there's one called Simayali, which is very similar to the lion. There's also something called Niryali, which is a lion, which also kind of looks human. Okay, very much like, think of it like a sphinx, right? So it's like half man, half lion kind of deity.
Oh yeah, like the sphinx.
Yeah. So we have this. We have a lot of, and again, this is why. I asked, that gentleman who just mentioned that to come to India or Thailand or Cambodia, right? Because we not only know them as a mere fanged deity that looks like a lion or a jaguar, but it's also, thank you, Patriotic Tech. So, but he also he can also see that people, it's common knowledge in India saying that, oh, this is, what do you call it? This is called a yali. We have different types of yali. We have lion-looking yali. We have human-looking yali. Well, and we have stories of how these fanged deities fought with other deities as well. You know, how they evolved. Why are they dominant features in some temples? Why are they overpowered by other deities in other temples? You know, and all that stuff. Because we have not broken that chain in India, right? So we have that, yeah. And we can see very common themes with the Nephilim as well. Okay, so we repeatedly people say, oh, the Nephilim, the fallen angels, they were bred between the gods and humans and all that stuff. We see the same story in India again and again. All the giants, okay, in ancient Indian epics, these giants were always a hybrid between the gods and humans. Okay?
Like the half hybrid, yeah. They appear in so many cultures.
Yes. So again, we can see the fanged deities, the reptile-like beings, the same pyramidal architecture, and we can talk about the Nephilim and these things. Again, the sun gods, and Luke is bringing up a very good point, right? But Egypt worshipped a different sun god, right? And the Mayans worshipped a different sun god, and Hindus worship, well, I mean, it's the same sun, right? Right? He's the source of all our energy, right? Think about it, right? So and today people, when I go to lectures around the world, right? So we go to Cosmic Summit or the UK or in India, sometimes we give lectures, and sometimes atheists come out and say, no, I don't. When I say you worship the sun, especially if they're not Hindu, or if they're atheists or they belong to some other religion, they're like, no, I don't worship the sun. I don't celebrate the sun, right? That's really that's old school, man. What are you, like a caveman? And I say, no, you do celebrate the sun, right? You should look at yourself when you are celebrating your birthday, right? Why are you not celebrating your birthday every 6 months? You're celebrating your birthday. You're basically celebrating the point on the orbit relative
when you've
to the
gone
sun.
around
You
the
made
sun.
one full circle around the sun. That's what you're celebrating.
That's
right?
true.
Yeah. And then I say, well, I mean, and what do you do on New Year's Eve? Why are you going crazy when the ball drops, right? Like, think about all the extraterrestrial gods watching the humans, right? The people are just going crazy because they made one full circle. Yeah, we made one full circle around the sun. We think we're so like sophisticated now, but yeah, we celebrate the sun.
Yeah, wait till there's an eclipse happens anywhere. Humans go nuts. There's like people do parties, festivals. I remember there was an eclipse when I was a child in England, like a big total eclipse, and England stopped. Everybody went outside. They sold these special glasses, like a kind of 3D glasses to protect you. I thought I was going to go blind. It was really scary. Everyone was like, and I was like, wow, we are just people that worship the sun and go nuts about it.
Yeah. I mean, and people have a different view of, people celebrating the solstice in Stonehenge versus the people partying when the ball drops. We're doing the same thing. We're celebrating the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. Every holiday, every Christmas, especially here in the US, all you hear is they're very, I should say, staunch Christians who will talk poorly about any people celebrating Halloween. And I'm like, these are all astronomical holidays. Like it all has to do with where the sun is at in the sky and what the season is.
And don't get me started on Christian Christmas traditions that we've just stolen from ancient pagan. Like if you have a Christmas tree, if you bring a Christmas tree into your house, the idea of bringing in an evergreen tree from outside and decorating it, it's the most pagan thing ever. And I always find that quite funny that we nobody really understands where all of the laws come from, but often it's got really old, ancient.
Yeah, and Halloween is just the Celts, the insular Celts up in Britain. They would when the dark half of the year began, at the end of the harvest, the winter is coming in. They would dress up their house in all these ghoulish, scary masks because the cold winds and the spirits that came with them would steal people away during the winter. So think about it, trying to survive the winter in ancient times in Britain. Yeah, it sounds pretty brutal. And so you think these spirits are coming and sweeping people away. So you put on these ghoulish masks and stuff and try to scare them off. And then like now that's supposed to be satanic, as if it had much to do with Christianity to begin. Anyways, we're getting off in the whole.
We could do a whole Christmas.
You know
should we do a
guys?
Christmas episode? We go into the old, because there's some
we need it. We should do this layered. For Christmas. Yeah,
we should, because I remember being on the back of the bus in Egypt on the tour. Because when you're on tour, you have hours and hours and hours to chat with everybody while you're going to the ancient sites, and it's amazing the stories that people talk about. But someone was explaining all about the ancient origins of Christmas lore, specifically like Western Christmas, like Santa, red, white, the reindeers, why the reindeers fly, like all. And then there was an answer to all of it in like ancient mythology and ancient lore, and I was like, oh my God. So, okay, we'll put a pin in that. We'll do that closer to Christmas. We're wrapping up today's show.
So, Praveen, what are you?
Thank you, man.
Yeah. What are you up to? Where can people find you? What do you have going on in the future? If people want to join your tours, how can they join you?
Well, you please put the link.
I'll put the link in the
It's just tours.pravinmohanglobal.com. You come to the site. You can just sign up immediately. It's only 20 days away, and we only take a limited number of people because we want this to be kind of a personal experience. We don't take more than 20 people. We don't want a large crowd. We'd like to answer all the questions in depth, like the tour we did last time. It's so good that a few people have signed up again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, in 2 months they want to come back to the tour again. Is that good? So we only have a limited seats, a few seats left. So if somebody wants to join, they can go to the link and they can sign up right away. But it's only 20 days away. Okay. It's
I put the link. I put the link now. It should pop up in the description box now.
Yes. Thank you. And of course, my name is Praveen Mohan. So I don't do, I don't run like anything commercial. There's nothing else on my website. You can just Google my name. You'll probably find me on YouTube under Praveen Mohan, and then on Facebook under the same name, Praveen Mohan, or Instagram. I post a lot of content, like I post a lot of research. My research is basically boots on the ground style. I go to these places, right? Yeah. So even to do the Thailand tour, I've been going to Thailand since like 2023, 2024. So I know these temples. I like to research deeply. I'm the guy who comes up. Thank you. Somebody said thanks for the fun show. Thank you. So that's what I do. So you can just Google my name and then you can find me. Okay.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Your channel's amazing, because for anybody who can't make it out to these sites in India or wherever, you go and you document it so well, because you are boots on the ground, and you're not just boots on the ground, you're hands in the thing and eyes down here, and like you're looking at the back, and you're looking at things that other people, the tourists might be looking that way, and you're upside down looking that way. And that's what I love about your channel and your work.
Thank you,
Check out Praveen, guys.
Yeah, man. Well, it was a pleasure to have you on, and I feel like we could talk 10 more hours about this, literally. So we're definitely gonna have to have you on again. I have so many questions. Like, I could have turned the whole lotus thing into like a 3-hour conversation, but I was fighting the urge not to do that. But definitely sometime. Now I feel like we've had you on and we've covered a very broad spectrum. Next time, let's be like, all right, we're just going to talk about this for an hour. Just this one thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I also, we shouldn't just like hang out as online, we should also do it like in real life, right? So we should do tours
Totally
in real
down.
life. We should go to the conferences and stuff like that. Not, you know. So
Yeah, we do. We see temples during the day, and we go to Bangkok at night, baby.
Yes,
Thailand experience.
You. Yeah, your followers are very nice. They give me a lot of compliments. Thank you. I appreciate that.
We have a nice community.
The Raiders are a good bunch, a very good bunch.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything.
So, and yeah, awesome. Okay, well, thank you very much. I have a screaming baby in the back, so I've got to bless her.
Awesome. All right. Well, Praveen, thank you so much, sir. We're going to do this again sometime. And Johanna, thank you so much for being the co-host again. And Raiders, we will see you all again very shortly with a big episode coming up next.
Oh, big.
Huge announcement. You guys be ready for it. Be ready for it, because what we're announcing, all you guys in here that like to tune into the show, you're going to be the first to know about it. So, all right. Catch y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, we're still on the live. Just me and Praveen.
What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to leave?
Well, apparently we're still live, but somehow, okay, let's leave.
Let's
sorry, guys.
Let's take over.
I'm an amateur. Okay, I left the studio. I left.
And we just stayed on the live. I just walk off now. Bye.
I just bailed on you guys.
Should I leave the studio, or should I? What am I supposed?
We just leave Praveen in here.
Praveen, it's over to you, Praveen. You just take it from here.
Praveen, you watch everybody. We'll be back next month.
Okay, I'm gonna leave.